Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, I am Safwani Fonna and my friend Wafa Dhina Aliyah from English Education Department Islamic State University of Araniri, Banda Aceh. Here, we would like to explain you about our translation and interpretation studies project that we choose the title The Comparison Between Interpreting and Translation Process. Translating and interpreting is an interesting and challenging job for a number of reasons. In translating and interpreting, it is enabled to trains to form as rapidly as possible, correct the structure in the transfer of written or even spoken text from one language to another language. And then, for the concept of translating and interpreting process, the concept of translating process will be not able appropriately based on meaning found in the dictionary, but also guys, the context of this situation and context base of the text as well. By the same token, the process of translation refers to the automatic use of the translator knowledge of his native language structure, which is transferred into the target language. And then, for the concept of interpreting process, according to Pohecker, interpreting is a form translation in which a first and utterance is a source language. In addition, that interpreting is a process by which a spoken language takes place in one language which is intended or presumed to convey the same meaning as previously exists in other language. Okay.
So my name is Wafa Aliyah and I will explain about the sample of the translation process. From the example, we can see the translation processing clearly expressed. SL sentence appears some of assessments into TL based on how is the way transferring this meaning. First, focusing on linguistic transfer the product. For the example, beberapa lukisan milik Tom. The second, based on transfer of meaning the product. Example, beberapa lukisan menggambarkan Tom. And the last, transferring by culture the product. Example, Tom membuat beberapa lukisan. It can be seen that the SL or the text to be translated finds meaning and then re-expresses the meaning into the language of translation. In this case, the translation was made from English to Indonesian. So, I will explain about the sample of interpreting process. The translation process from SL translators must simultaneously transfer messages or greeting to TL. Perpetrators have limited time to interpret. On the other hand, interpretation has a different translating way. The time spent given to the translator is very short, so the translator must pay attention to the topic to interpret who is involved in the communication and the context of the situation in which the communication takes place. There are three types of interpretation. The first one is simultaneous, second one consecutive, and the last liaison interpreting. The differences between translating and interpreting. Interpretation focuses on the delivery of speech immediately after the delivery of speech from the speaker. The interpreter conveys the speaker message to the listener. Interpretation is conveyed in a communication situation where the need for attention is focused on SL congratulatory messages and message transfer to TL. Both translation and interpretation belong to the field of translation studies, but focus on attention and are different from one another. Translation includes the fields of processing in written text ranging from scientific documents, law, economics, secret text, manuals to literary text. Written translation are not delivered in person but within a certain period of time according to the client needs. In terms of this duration, it may take longer to get the translate result before it considered the final word. And the similarities between translating and interpreting. The working principle of two types of translation is to capture language ideas proposal for business to study to English, so at least it involves two language. Second, the purpose of both types of translation is to transfer the message or meaning idea from one language to the another. Second, the two translators must be able to transfer message well, master both language well too, so there is no diversion in perfect message. The process of translation. One, A is analysis. When we want to translate a sentence, we have to see first what the sentence means. What is the context like? Don't let us the sentence directly beat us to translate it. B. Transfer. The function of the transfer in the translation process is not only to move words from the search language to the target language. However, this process also aims to sort, select, and filter the right words or diction so that the translation doesn't sound strange and stiff. But remember, please really remember, before we change the search language to the target language, we need to really do the analysis stage first so that there are no misunderstandings. And the last, restructuring. The root word for restructuring is a structure with the prefix re in from and ing ending at the end. Structure as a noun means structure. Think of structures as a verb meaning to compose. If you add the prefix re, restructure, it means to rearrange. If you add the suffix ing, restructuring, it means the process of rearranging. In the translation, process restructuring can be interpreted as a process of compiling the sentence from the search language whose sentence structure is adjusted to the same as a target language. The process of interpreting. The interpreting process only requires speed of response in translating something and not forgetting the most important thing about the translator's knowledge. So that's all for us. We say sorry if we make a mistake. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.